Welcome to the very first episode of Bread Crumbs from the Soul, a radio show dedicated to finding those miracles that are hidden in our everyday circumstances, surrounding us at our every turn, helping to guide us along our way as we journey home and awaken to the spiritual being that we truly are. I'm Reverend Michelle Rado. I'm an ordained ministerial counselor through Pathways of Light. Pathways of Light is a church with no boundaries. You can visit their website at pathwaysoflight.org. All of our teachings are based on A Course in Miracles, and there is a host of self-study programs, counseling programs, 8-week courses such as inner healing of the inner child, spiritual awakening, and all of that is available to you through myself or any one of the Pathways of Light ministers. If you would like to get additional information and might be interested in personal counseling or in joining a group, most of which are done over teleconference. I know it sounds a little odd, it did for me at first, but I find that doing spiritual awakening groups over teleconference is actually really liberating. It removes a lot of the preconceived notions that you have at looking at somebody, at feeling comfortable. And so I have found them to be really, really useful, and I enjoy them quite a bit. If you are interested in getting more information, please visit my website at revrado.org. R-E-V, as in Victor, Rado, R-A-D-O.org. If you are called to wanting to learn how to become an ordained ministerial counselor yourself, or a practitioner of miracles, so that you can also train others and or perform marriages and so forth, or you just really are inspired to want to partner with a mind healing partner to really investigate A Course in Miracles and what it means to your life on your road and your awakening journey, feel free to give me shoot me an email and we'll set up a time to talk, and I'll be happy to talk to you about where you are in your awakening process and the various programs that are offered through myself and also by way of Pathways of Light, and that we can come up with a program that really works for you. I highly, highly recommend it, having gone through it myself. The act of the studying really is helpful to, I don't want to use the word force, but really regiment. It really helps your discipline in being engaged in the process of your own awakening. So if you're inspired and interested, I highly recommend that you reach out to me. Shoot me an email at Michelle, M-I-C-H-E-L-L-E, at revrado.com. If you'd like to follow us on Facebook, you can find us at facebook.com/breadcrumbs from heaven. That's the name that we were able to get on Facebook. So it's facebook.com/breadcrumbs from heaven. And on Twitter, let's take a look and see what that is. It is twitter.com/from the soul radio, and it's spelled FRM, and then everything else is spelled out, The Soul Radio. So FRM, The Soul Radio on Twitter, and you can follow us there. And on YouTube, if you just go into your search bar and search for Breadcrumbs from the Soul, you should find our channel there. Also, if you're on Blog Talk Radio, there's various links that you can just click on to get through from there. I hope that you will be one of the first people to go through to our Facebook site and go through to YouTube, and that you will click, like, follow, subscribe, and participate. This, our awakening, the one thing that I've learned deeply through my studies on the road to the ordained ministerial counselor, is that we teach each other and we learn from one another. So don't hesitate. I encourage you to comment, to write an email, and to share with me any thoughts that you're inspired. I invite that because I will learn from that, and I will take it in and share it, and we can all learn on our journey home together. The topic for this very first episode is how to transform judgment thinking and judgment into inspired action. Okay, so let's get started with this very first episode of Bread Crumbs from the Soul. Now, since I've got you all revved up about A Course in Miracles, I thought I'd throw you for a loop right away, and I was inspired to actually start this episode with a quote from Rumi. And the funny reason for this is I was watching a movie on Netflix. I was watching the documentary-style movie about Diana, and this quote came up, and I said, that's the subject for my very first radio show. And it's Rumi. And for those of you who don't know who he is, and I was included in that until just a few moments ago when I looked him up, Rumi is, I'm going to read it to you right here. He was born in September 30th, 1207. And what I find really fascinating is that he passed away December 17th, 1273. And I was born in December 17th. And so I find that very interesting and compelling. He was a 13th century Persian Muslim poet and jurist, theologian, and Sufi mystic. Iranians, Turks, Afghans, Tajiks, and other Central Asian Muslims, as well as the Muslims of the Indian subcontinent, have greatly appreciated his spiritual legacy in the past 7 centuries. Rumi's importance is considered to be to transcend national and ethnic borders. His poems have been widely translated into many of the world's languages and transposed into various formats. Okay, so in 2007 it says he was described as the most popular poet in America. Well, now we know. I was very inspired by what was said in the movie, and I'm going to tell you what was said in the movie. It was, "Beyond wrong and right, there is a garden, and I will meet you there, and we will be forever." But as I'm looking it up on this particular website, I like what they say here. He says, "Out beyond ideas of wrongdoing and right doing, there is a field. I'll meet you there. When the soul lies down in that grass, the world is too full to talk about." This really gets to the heart of what we are talking about, any of us who are really reading the Course in Miracles and efforting to recognize miracles and to channel miracles back into the universe. And that is the idea that we are in an illusionary world, and it is a world that we have created, and we create it through our perception. Judgment begins with our perception. So if you could imagine you're walking down the street and you see a human being walking down the street, and you don't know who this person is, but you see them, and there's something about them. They have a look. Maybe they're not clean. Maybe they're not as clean as you think they should be. Or, maybe they could be pretty, but they're not wearing makeup. But maybe if they wore makeup, they could be really pretty. Whatever it is, the minute you start to go into that thought process, it's like you jump onto a train. So you take this unlimited being, and you're taking it and putting it into a capsule, a train. Now it's on a track. So it's not only is it in a box, but it's in a box that can only stay on this track. It can no longer just roam freely through the universe. So now you've got this thought, and it's a perception, and it's in this box. And now you start thinking, wow, somebody should tell her that, if she just wore some makeup and did her hair differently, she could be really pretty. And you start going down this track with every thought, and you find yourself just consumed in the thought process. And it just picks up steam, and pretty soon your train is just going full steam ahead, and you have utterly forgotten the fact that you are an unlimited being of light and love. And you certainly have failed to recognize that so is she. And you've gone into this world of limitation. And what Rumi is saying here is that beyond good or bad, because this happens if it's good too. This happens if you look at somebody, let's take Barbra Streisand. You look at Barbra Streisand. She is a phenomenally gifted artist and truly a legend. And that's wonderful. But even that begins to limit her. I know it sounds a little bit unusual, but the good stuff is a limitation just as much as the bad stuff. So when you start calling her an artist, when you start saying that she's a singer or an actress, and you limit, she's not an artist. She is a being of unlimited light and love, just as we all are. She's actually no better and no worse than we are. And we are no better and no worse. We're all unlimited light beings. So good or bad, it's a limitation. And so what Rumi is talking about is that there is, in the movie it said a garden, and in this quote it says there is a, what did it say in the quote? I already closed the quote down. Field. It said there is a field beyond thoughts of wrongdoing and thoughts of right doing. There is this field, as Dr. Wayne Dyer calls it, a field of intention. We call it the universe, what we are. And it's all-encompassing. We're not separated from it. And so the beauty of it is that this field, this garden, this field exists right now. That is the miracle that exists, that surrounds us right now. And what we learn is that where we, as humans, get caught up is we think it's up to us to figure everything out, and we think it's really our right or our prerogative, or in some cases we think it's necessary, that we're supposed to be making sense out of everything, and we're supposed to be judging these things. Or how else do you make sense of something? You have to judge it, and then you can make sense out of it, and then you somehow can figure out what you're supposed to do with that information. And so it's very logical, but we're not logic, we're love. That's what we are. And love has absolutely no boundaries. And so let's take the person walking down the street. The field exists right now. How arrogant are we that we believe that we have the ability to limit ourselves and limit that individual walking down the street by passing judgment, whether good or bad. And how amazing it is when we stop ourselves and realize that I'm unlimited light and love. This person is unlimited light and love. And guess what? I am not responsible for figuring all this stuff out. That's not my role. We transform judgment into inspired action as we open ourselves up to the universe. A Course in Miracles teaches us our role is to be the best possible, clearest channels of love back into the universe. Our role is really simple. Extend love into the universe. Extend peace, love, joy into the universe. That's all we're supposed to do. We are not supposed to figure it all out. Why? Because we, as humans, are limited. I'm just going to say it like it is. There's no knock on anybody because I'm one of you. But we're limited. We're already in a body. Right? So that's a limitation on us. In truth, we are all one. And we are not, it's not me and you, it's us. Okay, so we can think of it as the one mind, us, the one. And so we live beyond what's right and wrong. And you'll find that beyond what's right and wrong is peace and love. And so what we've learned is that the miracle is the peace and love that we bring and that we share together now. And so this isn't a place that we go to after we pass away, and it's not a place in the future. It doesn't have to be. It can be a place right now if we just recognize it as so. And so on this very first episode of Bread Crumbs from the Soul, what we're talking about is that when we pass a stranger on a street, an everyday circumstance that we do many times a day, they might be in a car, they might be in the grocery store, wherever they are, we can practice this thought process of, rather than seeing them in a good light or a bad light, rather than placing any limitation on them whatsoever, we can open ourselves up, our hearts and our minds up. We can catch ourselves and say, you know what, let me step away from the arrogance of thinking that I actually know anything about this individual, and let me open up to the fact that they are an unlimited light being, and as such, I have no idea. All I can do is open up and be receptive to the miracle that is. The miracle that is. And in that process, we are meeting right then and there, in that field, in that garden, beyond right and beyond wrong. And we realize as we meet there in peace that we are in forever. The moment you open to those unlimited possibilities, where you step back from any kind of preconceived notion, good or bad, you open up to the endless possibilities. And that's where the real magic happens. So the miracle is in opening up to the universe and suggesting to it, I don't know what the answer is, so I'm going to open up to you and I'm going to allow the magic to happen. And this is when truly exciting things happen in our lives. We get gifts from strangers. We get sweet smiles from people we don't know. The person ahead of us in the traffic just opens up a little space, and you know what? For the first time in a very long time, they just hold up and let you get in front of them during rush hour. Little tiny acts of kindness, miracles occur in your everyday life. And when we arrive at this location, now we are at that place that Rumi speaks of. And when he says, in this field, when the soul lies down in that grass, the world is so full that there are no words, that you cannot speak of it. Because what has happened is you have let go of everything. You have accepted your unlimited potential. You are in this place of love and peace. And from that place, there are just simply no words. In A Course in Miracles, it says, God is, and nothing else. And so to accept this, it teaches us, we simply say God is, and then we cease to speak because there is nothing else. How do we learn from this everyday experience of seeing a stranger walking down the street? And how do we meet each other right now in that field of love and peace? We do that, number one, by becoming aware. So step one, become aware. As you go through your day and you're walking down the street, notice what thoughts are coming up for you when you look at that stranger. Notice how you naturally gravitate towards judgment, good or bad. Pause in that moment and just allow that to happen. Step two, under all circumstances, never judge yourself. If your first impulse is to think something negative and even ugly, oh my God, look at how fat that person is. Oh, look at how thin that person is. Look at how black they are, or how white they are, or look at the blemishes on their face. Whatever it is, let it just occur. Let it up. Don't hide that. Don't be ashamed of that. Don't judge yourself for that. Because whatever you hold on to deep inside stays with you. And it's not until you release it and surrender it that we heal from it. So don't hide it. You're not hiding it from anybody. We're all one anyway. So don't hide it from yourself. And don't judge yourself for it. We all do it. It's okay. Because in truth, there's no right or wrong, right? There's just the field, and we just want to live there. And so let that go. Don't judge yourself. And then step 3 is to surrender your thoughts and open yourself to the universe, that universal love of which we're all a part, that field. Surrender unto the field. Lay down in the grass. Allow your soul to unfold in the grass of oneness. And in that process, you open to the possibility, the miracle, whatever that is, of which you play an important part, your part. And your part today, walking down the street, might just be to smile at that person. You might be inspired to say something to that person. You might be inspired to say, oh, what a lovely day it is. You might be inspired to help them to retrieve something that they're trying to pick up out of their car. You might be inspired to do nothing. Whatever it is, that's the miracle, because now you've opened yourself up to the possibility. I'm not judging. I'm not making decisions on what's supposed to happen. I'm open to the universe to guide me in what's the best thing for me to do here. And from that place of openness, now you are channeled, if you will. You become a channel to the universe, and you become this channel of love, channel of miracles back into the universe, and you're open now to whatever happens through you, and you accept it. So step 4, accept whatever you're inspired to do. Now that's the hardest part, I think. Sometimes you're inspired. Sometimes you see somebody who appears to be in need of money, and you want to reach into your pocket and give them $20 or $100. And you think to yourself, well, what the heck is that about? I need that $20. That's crazy. I'm going to give them $1. Or you see somebody and you're inspired to not do anything. Then let that be as well. Because you don't know what lesson that person needs to learn in life. But if you open yourself up and allow the universe to work through you, and then you trust your inspiration, then you just behave as you are entrusted, as you are channeled to do so, then what happens is the miracle occurs. So you don't get to know, here's the good news and the bad news, you don't get to know how come you needed to not say anything to that person, or how come you needed to give them money or not give them money. You don't get to know how important that smile was that you were inspired to give them, or those words about the nice day. You don't get to know that. You get to trust that the universe in its infinite wisdom, which is much smarter than just you in your body, the limited you, the one who identifies with your name and your face and your body and your life and all the circumstances of your life, you get to accept that however you were naturally inclined to behave from this open place of openness to all possibilities is the exact right way for that person. And that's the beauty of the universe. And that's how it will work. And so we have learned in this very first episode of Bread Crumbs from the Soul how we can take the everyday circumstance of passing a stranger in the street, and we can find the hidden miracle that is always available to us. Let me know if you found today's show on how to transform judgment into inspired action helpful in any way in your life. And I really hope that you will join me on Facebook, which is at facebook.com/breadcrumbs from heaven. And you'll leave a post or shoot me an email at michelle@revrado.com. Let me know what you think. And let me know if there are any circumstances, current day circumstances, that you would like me to address in a future episode. I would love to hear from you. I'd also love to hear from you how easy or hard the process of actually opening up to the possibility of every stranger being of love and light, limitless. Let me know how that is going for you. I'd love to hear from you. And I hope that you'll join me next week, Wednesday, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, as we deep dive into another everyday circumstance to find the hidden miracle that is beyond. Have a blessed week.